Welcome and thank you for joining us for Unlock Unshakable Resilience, Practical Strategies from the PAC Framework. I'm Glenn Hoover, co-founder of Be Your Own Best Coach and Stamina Lab, where we bring you programs and tools to help develop self-leadership skills and habits to accelerate your career and boost your well-being. I'll be guiding you through today's Power Pack session with my colleague and fellow co-founder, Dr. Deborah Teplow. Hi, Deborah.
Hello, everybody, and thanks for joining us.
So today we're going to go through a few different things, and the PAC framework, and we're going to do a persistence exercise, and how to actually put PAC to work. We're going to end with that, so stick around to the end so we really get to how to put it to work. And I want to thank everyone who filled out the "What are your best hopes from attending this webinar?" Everyone who registered and filled that out said that they're hoping to gain practical tools to boost resilience and apply the PAC framework, enhance their careers, and learn strategies for personal and professional growth. Many of you are looking for a resilience booster after feeling depleted, while others aim to refine their systems and tap into their full potential. And so this is definitely going to get you on that journey. And again, we're going to really comes together with how do we put it to work. So with that all said, I'm going to pass it on to Deborah to introduce us to the PAC framework for resilience. Take it away, Deborah.
Thanks. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to go over our science-based approach for boosting resilience, and we call it PAC. And PAC comprises the 4 key factors that you need and that you can use to make sure you don't get stuck in stress-induced wheel spinning, paralyzed with fear, or taking and are engaging in unproductive avoidance behaviors because you're overwhelmed. So when we look at PAC, we're going to touch on the unique aspects of building resilience, that aren't obvious and that most people don't even recognize, but are hugely, hugely important to enable you to maximize your resilience. And they're embedded in PAC, as you see: persist, amplify, connect, and keep it short and simple. So when we think about the ability to persevere, and next slide, Glenn.
Yeah.
Most often we think about personal traits, such as those in this list: grit, determination, resolve, tenacity, stamina, and willpower. Again, those are all your interpersonal traits. Resilience definitely depends on those, but more than only those. And so as you'll see, building resilience means addressing both those internal factors, but external factors also that affect your ability to weather stormy seas, or to right the boat, and to get back in when it flips. And I'm saying that because I actually do rowing, sculling on the water, and we flip. So how do you get back in your boat? And we like this quote by Antoine Saint-Exupéry, because resilience starts with persistence. And persistence, as we said, isn't only your personal traits, as we just mentioned, but it isn't only the result of sticking to a plan or having goals, no matter how smart they may be. It's about that dream. And so I'm going to just read this quote. It's: if you want to build a ship, don't drum up people together to collect wood, and don't assign them tasks and work, but rather teach them to long for the endless immensity of the sea. And so what does that mean? So what enables people to persist are their values and their dreams, what their heart yearns for, as suggested in that quote we just saw. So persistence, your ability to persist, is related to the meaning and purpose of the struggle to stay on course. So this is what we mean by those internal factors, that ability to persist. And persistence depends, as I said, on the meaning and the purpose of the struggle. Now, what's a good example of that? Look at any exhausted parent of a newborn, and you'll see this crystal clear, because that parent is so exhausted. The last thing, they want to do is get up for the fourth time again to check the baby or, hold the baby, but they persist because their value is to love and care for that baby. Think of anyone in history who's endured terrific hardship, and underneath what they've done, you'll find that what drove that persistence and fueled it is what they cared about. So when you consider the persistence in pack, ask yourself what you truly care about, what difference it would make for you to keep hanging in there and staying the course, or getting back in the saddle, or in my case, back on the boat. So, and I want to give you just one hint. It's not about the goals that you want to achieve. It goes deeper to what difference having reached those goals and achievements will make for you. So take dieting and exercise. So what enables me to persist is not the numbers on the scale or the data on my, exercise chart, because those can go one way or another way, kind of in a cycle. I can feel down one day and not want to exercise or have the extra cookie or whatever. But what keeps me persisting is my desire to live a long, healthy life, to love and be loved by my husband, my kids, and my 10, almost 11 grandchildren. And that's what keeps me persisting, because I still may not, like to eat my broccoli every night. Actually, I do love it, but, lots of whatever. Everybody has those things that they don't particularly like to do, and it's hard to persist. So ask not what is it that you have to do, but what is the result going to be of having done it? What does your heart yearn for? All right. And we go to amplify. So part of being able to persist is to also amplify. So amplify means capitalizing on your strengths and skills, even those you may not recognize or appreciate fully, or those that you minimize. Minimize is, oh yeah, I know I walked today, but it was only a mile. It wasn't my usual 5. We all do that. And everybody struggles with one thing or another. Maybe it's not being organized enough, or procrastinating, or not sticking to the health routine. But the problem is that we all have a negativity bias hardwired in our brains from evolution. So stuff that's negative grabs our attention, while stuff that's positive just slips away out of our mind almost immediately. And that negativity bias, that thing that, negativity sticks on our mind, what we goofed up or what we did, is why we wake up at 2 in.the.morning thinking about, oh my gosh, why did I say that silly thing? Rather than saying, hey, look at all I accomplished yesterday. And the problem is we don't wake up thinking about what we did right. And that's where Amplify comes into play. So what can we do right? What did we do right? Even the tiniest thing to make progress on a project, either personal or work or whatever. And how do we build on that? Can we see ourselves building on that? Okay, I didn't feel good yesterday. I didn't do my 5 miles, but I did do my 1 mile. How did I do that? How do I do that again? And let me see myself doing it again, and then appreciating that I was able to do it. So that's amplify. Find the tiniest things that are working and grow them. All right, connect. So we talked about internal factors. External factors are another part of the PAC model. And the connect means connecting with others. It's a key external factor. We are social animals. We need that connection. And what I wanted to make sure that you appreciate, understand, appreciate, is that connection with others can be in real time, or it can be across time. So it doesn't mean that, you have to be able to call that person who are going to go, just do it, don't worry about it, just keep at it. it could be whatever person. It could be a role model. It could be an inspiring figure from history 1,000 years ago, but it's somebody who gives you hope and he helps you carry on. So, and connection is often related to your values and purpose. Connection can even be an animal or an object. You're connected to it. It spurs you on. It keeps you on course. This is what is important to me. This is why I do the struggle and keep persisting and moving forth. All right, the next one. And so now we've got persistence, amplify, connect, and now we have KISS, keep it short and simple. This is your survival tool for tackling hardship with simplicity and focus that would otherwise overwhelm you or stop you. Now, even if you weren't alive 55 years ago, when astronauts Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin landed the Apollo 11 lunar module on the moon, and Buzz Aldrin took that humanity's first step on the moon with his message, one small step for humanity, or one small step for a man, a giant leap forward for humanity. This applies to KISS. So Aldrin took that first step for man, huge leap for humanity. I promise you, he wasn't thinking about habits or SMART goals or anything about how do I make this my daily routine. He was in the moment. He was acting in the moment. It was the smallest doable step. And that is a lesson for us with KISS. It's one step at a time, and it's one step that can have profound significance for you, just as Buzz Aldrin's did for human history. And so with KISS, we're asking you to release yourself of all the I shoulds, why can't I, et cetera, and to appreciate that what you have to do is just the first, smallest, doable step. Present time, and leave it at that. All right, so let's go on to our practice, and this is our exercise. So we've talked about persisting, and that's the exercise we're going to do today. So persisting depends on several factors. One is motivation. And as I mentioned, goals aren't enough to sustain motivation over time. Just that number on the scale or wherever, it isn't enough. People give up all the time. They think, the number, okay, so it's 11, not 15 pounds I lost. What sustains you is the outcome. We already talked about the result of reaching the goal. Asking yourself what difference that outcome will make. So what I'd like you to do right now is think of one small goal. So that goal is, and what's been maybe a little bit hard for you to start in on, maybe it's cleaning out the closet, or what's a small goal that's been hard to carry out or even just stick with. Because so right now, identify that. I'll give you a few seconds just to think. Simple. Be as simple as, putting your clean laundry away. It doesn't have to be anything big. Just think of that one goal.
Write it down, right?
Yeah, right now.
Write it down, yeah.
Sure. Thank you, Glenn. Yeah, write it down. Right. All right. And again, this is just super simple. Now, what I'd like you to do is ask yourself, and what difference will it make when I've achieved this goal? What difference will it make? And notice what will be different in your life, in your routine, when you've reached that goal, when you've done that one thing. What difference will it be for you? Might be a feeling, it might be a thought, it might be behavior. And then we have a minute to share, Glenn.
Yeah, let's do that. Just share.
Okay. All right. let's hear. What was your goal? What was the outcome? What was the result? What was the difference reaching that goal would make for you? Somebody just shout it out.
Sorry, I couldn't unmute myself. This was a really silly little example, but I have celiac disease and I've had a backup food emergency kit, and sometimes I'm good about having it, and sometimes I use it up and I don't assemble it. And it's just something that it's not really important because I hardly ever have real emergencies where I need to just grab something and go. Usually I have 10 minutes that I can throw something together. But if I had a real, like, I have to get in the car and drive my husband to the hospital or something, I need it. And it's just a peace of mind thing, and I keep putting it off. Like, and it's just something very silly that isn't the highest importance in my life, and it's not really a set habit, but that was what I chose. So I don't remember the second part of the question.
What difference would that make to you to have put that together?
Just knowing it's there is like, okay, I know where it is. I can just grab it and go, and I'm ready. And, I mean, it doesn't have to be, it could be a neighbor, like somebody needs me to leave the house and I don't know how long I'm going to be gone and I can't eat. So, it's then when I get there, also the stress of being somewhere and then being like, oh, hey, this is turning, what if I go someplace and the car breaks down? I could be stuck there for an hour waiting for, roadside assistance or,
Right.
something like that. So thinking, okay, that helped me think of more examples of where it would be useful, because that's more likely, I go someplace and I get stuck where I don't, I can't eat anything. I could be stuck in a grocery store and I would still have trouble. So,
And Christy, what difference would that make for you to have that? Be able to eat? What difference then would that make for you?
Just knowing that I don't have to stress about it, because if I did have to go through, like, I've done this experiment, if I go into a convenience store, I'll look around and be like, if I were stuck here, what could I eat in here? And it's not stuff that I would really want to eat, and so it's like, it would just give me a sense of I'll be okay, and I'm not going to be putting my health at risk or having to eat something that it's going to make me, there's things I can eat that wouldn't gluten me, but they're going to make me sick because I don't eat them, like
Right.
convenience foods that are available. So knowing that I have my own things that are safe for me would just give me a sense of peace, and knowing that I'm not imposing or scrambling for something.
Yeah, that sense of peace. Yeah, and that's a great example, Christy, of the difference between that goal and the outcome. Sense of peace. Great, thank you.
All right, let's move on, Deborah, to the next slide. Or
Okay.
anything on this you wanted to continue?
I think that's really, I thank you, Christy. I think that really says it pretty much as explicitly as I could. It's the difference between, struggling to do the thing, make sure it's filled, and I will have peace. And that's the resilience that fuels the resilience, is that outcome. It's what your heart yearns for. It's that that peace. Okay, go ahead. So using PAC to build resilience does take discipline, but it doesn't have to be hard. And so the question is, how do we put this all to work?
Yeah, excellent. So we're going to talk about how we put this all to work. But before we do that, I just wanted to talk about the Resilience Mastery Bootcamp that we have coming up. That while we were able to delve a little bit into the persistence part of the PAC and go deeper in there, it just starts you on the idea of how PAC can help and the questions that we can ask in order for us to be able to be more resilient. One of the persons people put into the question about what are the best hopes for this webinar is, and I expect that after this webinar, I'll have all the tools necessary to boost my knowledge on how to build resilience. Well, that's a little tall order for us to do in 30 minutes, but we have gained it out for 14 days. And it's really just a mini bite-sized lessons every day that will allow you to walk away with a new sense of yourself, being curious and compassionate, confident and courageous, with a strong connection for your inner world that empowers you to survive and thrive in most any circumstance. We're going to host 2 group coaching sessions, Deborah and I, and where we're going to delve into the different parts of the psychology, the behavioral science behind the PAC, and like I said, each day is built with bite-sized lessons that build upon each other, or that can be taken individually, but that really help you get a sense of what PAC can do. Packing it's literally like packing your bag and having it with you. You have it with you. And these have daily activities that you can do, and then we have bonus exercises you can do. But at the fundamental level, it's just a bitty bite-sized lessons each day, along with that group coaching session that really come away with that sense of curiosity and compassion and confidence and courageousness about yourself. And it also includes, again, these group sessions like that we have here, where you're learning from each other and in our network, and everything's built on our health optimization platform, on our My Coach app, where you get a comprehensive tool set with daily check-ins, action guides, a wealth of videos, breathwork, meditations, and other resources, all designed to reinforce this resilience journey. We have a ability for a sign up right here, and we're giving a bonus discount of 50% off with the code RMB, Resilience Mastery Bootcamp 50. You could do that QR code, or actually I'm drop this in the chat here for you with the link to sign up. So with all that said, I want to switch it back over to Deborah so she can tell us how we're going to implement PAC into our work.
Okay, so we've really, just given you the very tiny tip of the iceberg. And at the same time, I did want to put these ideas into your mind, have you kind of chew on them and see how they work. So how do you put PAC to work? Simple. There are 2 ways to do it. First, prepare, and then celebrate and appreciate. So for preparation, and this sounds kind of ridiculous, but people don't do it as often or in ways that work as well as they could for people. So one is a reminder. Put PAC, write PAC on either your phone or a Post-it, or use it on a screensaver. So it's in your kind of what is it? Ecosystem, your personal ecosystem, right? It's a reminder. I do that. I have my PACK on something that sits right next to my computer. I see it I see it in the morning. I say, oh yeah, I have to pack. How am I packing? So that's first.
That was in our last cohort too, that putting on the phone. I like, oh, that was a great idea for someone to put it right as a note on their phone.
Yeah, right. The second is, and I guarantee you, people don't do this enough, appreciate enough, it is rehearse, practice it. So go through each element of PAC, thinking of one thing that would be different if you packed that day. Ask yourself, what's that first thing, no matter how small, you would notice that would tell you you are packing. So as I rehearse, I'm going to go through my day. I want to persist. What's a hard thing, even a small hard thing, so we don't have to start with the hardest thing? Well, actually, it's hard for me to do, wash my cereal bowl and rinse out my coffee cup because I think it takes too much time. But I can be resilient. I can rehearse. I'm going to persist at keeping my kitchens, very clean. I can rehearse that in my mind. What difference it'll make? I'll come back at the end of the day and say, whoa, that's so great to come to a clean kitchen. I could go through Amplify. I can go through Connect. Who's somebody or something that's going to inspire me? Oh, I had that quote. I'm going to put that quote on my screensaver, whatever it is. Small steps, it's KISS, right? And helping you rehearse it so that it becomes a part of your skill set. And then as you do that, you will see that PAC does come into your world and into your life, into your day. At the end of the day, celebrate and appreciate. At the end of the day, notice the evidence, no matter how small, of how you packed. Again, you've got it on your screensaver or it's a note or whatever, and ask yourself, and what evidence tells me that I did pack today? And you notice how I said it? I made the assumption I did. And I asked myself in that way, and what is the evidence that tells me I did pack today? And that then it almost puts the burden on me to think about that. Well, how did I persist? Oh, yeah, that's how I persisted. It's part of Amplify too, because remember, we overlook, we minimize, we discount, we don't even recognize the stuff that we're doing that does help build resilience. So here's your opportunity to attend to it, notice it, and appreciate it. And that's how to put back to work.
All right, thank you, Deborah. So let's we have a few more minutes, so let's go into Q&A. Anyone have any questions about PAC or the upcoming boot camp?
Does the boot camp run a specific day, or is it self-guided so you can start on any day?
It has a specific start date. Because we also have 2 group coaching sessions which run during that. So we'll be asking questions about the content that has happened up until that day. And at the same time, the lessons are available for you to go back to at any time in the app. There's a past lessons section in the app, and you can go back through the individual's lessons at any time. So you can do it at your pace, or you can just show up at the group sessions and then go back and look at the sessions as well.
And you can miss days and still go back, right, Glenn?
Yeah, I think miss days too, and I think there's another thing too is you can miss day and just just watch a day, read a day here and there, and still get value out of it. Yes, it builds upon itself, but there's also value in each individual mini lesson. Any other questions?
I have another question. I don't want to be the only one talking here. Somebody else has a question. I know that they do. I can see Ashley. Ashley has a question she doesn't want to ask. So Ashley, ask your question first.
Actually, I don't have a question. I've done work with them in the past, so I came out actually to get more information, get inspired, and then pass it along to others so that they could also be able to join
Thank you,
and
Ashley.
be a part of the process. So I'm here observing and listening.
Christy, how about what's your other question?
Okay, my other question is, I am specifically looking for, and I wrote this, I think, in my, when I have an upsetting event, I would like to be able to calm down from that sooner. So that to me is resilient. So if I get some news, I had something happen last week where I got an email, something happened, and I was like, panic, adrenaline rush. And it took me a while to realize, okay, it was a scam. It was okay. But even after I realized that, I was still upset for a few hours, and I don't want to feel like that. Can I learn? Will the course help me learn to get over that more quickly?
Absolutely. We love that. We love that is such a common situation. I'll tease you, Christy. I'm sorry to tell you, you're not all that special because so many people have that exact same thing. And this course I think would be perfect for it.
Yeah, of course, and as well as the all the resources we have too as well for some of those challenges to calm yourself, calm your nervous, a little bit of nervous system management. How do you calm that down?
Yeah.
Well, thank you. So I just want to end with one question. What's one thing you heard yourself think or say during the session that you want to take with you? One thing you heard yourself think or say during this session that you want to take with you. You can either unmute yourself and share it, or drop it in the chat, and I'll mention it. But what's one thing you heard yourself think or say that you want to take with you?
For me, my new little quote from Glenn was "Pack to have your bag with you." And it just reminded me, Christy, of the story that you shared. And just knowing that for myself, with prepping, that analogy I could use so that I could be prepared and going through the day of doing the work. So thank you. Thank you for having
Thank
me.
you, Ashley.
Thanks.
Mark says, I got something right in front of me that I can do with PAC, and it will be a great rehearsal. Excellent rehearsal in there and PAC.
It's great.
Lauren and Christy, what's one thing you heard yourself think or say that you want to take with you?
I like the connecting does not have to be real time. I read a lot, and to pick somebody like I'm okay without interaction with real live people. So the fact that you've validated that I can have a conversation with Kurt Vonnegut, and that's fine.
Yes.
And he can give me really great advice. So that's kind of cool that I can depend on that because he's always available too.
Yeah, I love that. In the last cohort, that's what so the Deborah, which we talked about our culture, even if you're who are you culturally, thinking about the lineage of that. But that was a real eye opener for me. That like, oh, this connection could be across time and space that you're making this, or not even something more abstract than that. So that's a great takeaway, Christy. Thanks for sharing. Lauren, what's one thing you heard yourself think or say in the last half hour that you want to take with you?
Okay, am I all right?
There you are.
I don't know. I found the quote about the boat fascinating, where you literally are enrolling people or yourself, I think, in the big picture versus maybe the steps. Maybe this is the different than the tiny steps. You know how we're taking all those tiny steps? This seems to be, the bigger picture, real, big. Like, let's get people wanting to go on the sea. And
Yeah.
I just thought that was very interesting, different take that I'd never thought about.
Good.
Excellent. Well, thank you for
Yeah.
sharing, Lauren.
And that's a heart of resilience too, is, when we're pushed to the wall, we have to think bigger than we've ever thought before. Sometimes our survival depends on that. So thank you for recognizing that, appreciating that quote.
Thank you. Any final words, Deborah?
Just pack and join us, because we know it's been transformational for other people who've done the Resilience Mastery Bootcamp. So I hope you join us.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us on the call, and we look forward to seeing you in the bootcamp or on another session. Thank you. Good night.